All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're going to explore a cutting-edge idea where you can literally use the tech behind crypto to hack your own brain and build better habits.
I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. What if the promises you made to yourself, the ones you always seem to break, were suddenly unbreakable, written into code that you couldn't argue with? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, maybe not for long.
So to really get why this idea is so powerful, we have to start with a very, very human problem. It's about the promises we make to ourselves day in and day out. We've all done this, right? You set that alarm, you are absolutely convinced that tomorrow is the day it all changes.
You might even lay out your gym clothes, picturing how great you'll feel. In that moment, the commitment feels 100% real, totally solid.
Or maybe it's something even bigger, something life-changing. You tell yourself, okay, this is it, for real this time. And you get this huge rush of determination. And then the alarm goes off, and that ironclad resolve from last night, it's just gone. The snooze button wins again, the gym clothes don't move, and the old habits just slide right back into place. So why? Why does this keep happening to us? Well, it really just boils down to some basic psychology. Motivation, it turns out, is just a feeling. And feelings, they come and go. Willpower is kind of like a battery that runs down during the day and resets every morning. And our brains, they're hardwired to be efficient, which means they will almost always choose the easy, familiar path, the shortcut, instead of the hard, new one.
So if we can't always trust our own internal wiring, what if we introduced a powerful external force? Something objective, something that doesn't care about our feelings, and something that, well, puts some real money on the line. And this, right here, is the key question. Feeling guilty is, okay, I guess. It's not a great motivator. But losing money? Now that is a feeling that gets our attention every single time. And this is where a really fascinating idea starts to take shape. It's called a behavioral smart contract. Okay, let's break that down. It's a digital agreement, pretty straightforward. It's smart because it runs itself automatically when certain conditions are met. No lawyers, no middlemen, nothing. And it exists on the blockchain, which means it's totally transparent and nobody can tamper with it. But the magic part is how it connects a real-world goal to a very real financial consequence. Okay, I know that sounds a little abstract. So how would this actually, work in the real world? Let's walk through a super simple example to make it concrete. So imagine this. First, you create the contract. Then, you put some skin in the game. You lock up, say, $200. Step 3, you connect a source of truth, like your Apple Watch or Fitbit. Then you set a very clear, measurable rule. I will walk 8,000 steps a day. No ambiguity. And finally, you decide the punishment. If you fail, the contract automatically sends $10 to a complete stranger, or it just burns it, sending it to an address where it can never be recovered. Poof, gone forever. And this is the game changer. The code doesn't care if you had a rough day at work. It doesn't listen to you when you say, I'll do twice as much tomorrow. It just reads one piece of data. Did you hit 8,000 steps? Yes or no? The consequence is instant and it is absolute. The rules have completely changed. Now you might be thinking this sounds kinda harsh, like you're punishing yourself. And that's a totally fair reaction. But the people who are pioneering this idea, they frame it in a completely different light. Look at this comparison. It's about swapping out our flawed, unreliable internal systems for brutally efficient external ones. Instead of relying on willpower, which we know disappears, you rely on code, which is permanent. Instead of that vague, useless feeling of guilt, you get a tangible, real consequence, and it completely eliminates the endless loop of excuses and replaces it with pure, simple, data-driven accountability. This whole approach taps into something really fundamental about how we're wired. Humans are driven by financial incentives, for sure. But what's really interesting is that we are far more motivated by the fear of losing something than by the hope of gaining that same exact thing. It's called loss aversion. This system is built directly on top of that powerful psychological trigger. So once you get this basic concept, you can see how it could apply to almost anything in your life where you need a little more discipline. It's like having a digital conscience that you literally can't ignore. I mean, just think about the possibilities. A student could link their study app and lose $2 every time they skip a session. Someone trying to quit smoking connects a smart breathalyzer, and if it detects anything, boom, a $10 penalty. Or how about this? An entrepreneur stakes their own money on a project deadline, and if they miss it, the funds automatically go to their biggest competitor.
The applications are just mind-boggling.
And what this does is completely reframe the whole conversation around crypto. For so long, we've seen it as just this speculative financial asset. But what if its true purpose is something else entirely? This chart shows a new identity for crypto not as a get-rich-quick scheme, but as a utility, a tool for building self-improvement, discipline, and structure into our own lives.
And the crazy thing is, this isn't some distant fantasy. All the pieces are already on the board and falling into place. Today, we have wearables tracking everything we do. In the near future, AI is going to get incredibly good at analyzing all that data. The blockchain is the final piece of the puzzle, that unchangeable, trustless layer that enforces the consequences.
This quote right here, it just perfectly captures the massive shift this could represent. It completely flips our relationship with money on its head. It's not just about what you do to earn it anymore, it's about how you behave every single day to keep it.
So that's the ultimate question we're left with. It's a fascinating, maybe even a little bit scary vision of the future. A world where your biggest promises are held accountable not by your fleeting willpower, but by an impartial, unforgiving line of code that you yourself set in motion. Will you rise to the occasion, or will you pay the price?